This is for you, Kings fans, wherever you may be. All the frustration and disappointment of the past is gone. The 45-year drought is over. The Los Angeles Kings are indeed the kings of the National Hockey League. They are the 2012 Stanley Cup champions.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to not a post-game live, but a live on Dime Dropper for the first time in months. I'm not even going to go into depth about why I haven't been live. It's been a hard year. There's been a lot going on. I have a lot of content planned coming up. I'm back on the content grind. I've moved like 3 times this year, so I don't even know what to say, but I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. But when there's LA sports news, we gotta get to it. And of course, you know, in Clippers talk, there was Monty McNair. That's not big news, but this is big news. On Wednesday, June 18th, today, it was announced that the Buss family run as owners of the Lakers is coming to an end after 46 years. Man, Jeanie Buss, as tweeted by Shams, is entering an agreement to sell majority ownership of the Lakers to Mark Walter, the CEO and chairman of diversified holding company TWG Global, sources tell ESPN. And it says Jeanie will continue to serve in her role as governor after the sale. So my first thoughts were, holy shit, Mark Walter, the Dodgers, like that's us. That's the Dodgers. You're a world champion, Los Angeles Dodgers, by the way. Don't ever forget it. But this is major. You know, in LA, we've talked about the last couple of years that Jeanie Buss is not the owner that her father was, the late, great Jerry Buss, who I think is one of the greatest, if not the greatest owner in professional American sports. But it feels like the Lakers have been poor. Jeanie didn't want to go over the luxury tax to sign Caruso, and that was before the new CBA. And Jeanie's running this like a mom and pop shop. What are the Rambuses, you know, fall into the fold in terms of decision making and all that kind of stuff. So all due respect to Jeanie Buss, Pally High alum, you know, much love, but it was time. It felt like, you know, and I'm saying this is from a Clipper fan's perspective, in terms of the resources we have, the money that's being put into the stuff. Of course, there is a salary cap. There is the new CBA and the aprons and whatnot, but all the other stuff, you know, that you pay for as an owner, you know, the employees and the guys that we don't see as fans behind the scenes. That's where the Lakers have felt like they've been lacking, and it feels like Jeanie just doesn't have the money compared to some of these other owners. So it was time for Jeanie to, if you're a Laker fan, move on, and selling to someone like Mark Walter, who, you know, is part of the Guggenheim Group that has produced, you know, the change in the Dodgers ever since Frank McCourt's been gone. You know, when I was a kid and Frank McCourt owned the Dodgers, it was terrible. It was terrible. And then ever since we went to Guggenheim, or Guggenheim bought the team, we've literally owned the NL West. And of course, up until last year, we're somewhat chokers besides that championship in the bubble, the baseball bubble. And yeah, now that we've won the World Series, it's like all those years of competing and being great have shown that, you know, with the way that Dodgers run things, we've always brought in talent. But we also have a good farm system, and there's no salary cap in baseball. So this is not like the Lakers just get rich ownership now, and they're just going to be able to buy everyone and sign everyone. That's still, you know, that's the reason why they put the second apron in place. So guys like Ballmer and Lacob, who's part of Guggenheim too, by the way, can't just, you know, dominate the league with buying whoever they want. But if you're a Laker fan, this is a very good day to sell the team to Mark Walter, guys within Guggenheim who have been successful with the Dodgers. And now you have that. The Dodgers and the Lakers are bonded by the fact that they're the 2 most popular teams in the city by a landslide. They're bonded by the fact that the 2 most popular teams in the city by a landslide, the Dodgers and the Lakers. But at the end of the day, this is another thing that kind of bonds them, you know, that kind of links them together. And you definitely know that Magic's going to be back in the mix in some capacity. You know, and I think Magic, obviously, he has his flaws as a GM, and the way he left was a little unprofessional. But he, as an owner, I mean, wherever he goes, it seems like he produces. He's done great for the Dodgers. The Sparks have won with him in charge, although he's been criticized a little bit for not spending enough money there. And then now we'll see what's happening with Washington Commanders or the Redskins. You know what I'm saying? It's they're on, the up and up as well. So the Magic Man, he just has that magic touch, and Magic immediately went to Twitter and had his, assistant, whoever posts his tweets, tweet about Mark Walter being the best choice and will be the caretaker of the Laker brand. Now, there is some complication here. Well, see, I'm just going to read all the tweets as they came out, but Ramona Shelburne reported that Walter earned the first right of refusal if the Buss family ever decided to sell their 66% stake when he purchased Philip Anschultz, that's the guy that runs AEG and Staples Center, 26% stake in 2021. In other words, this has been positioned to go this way. The Lakers and the Dodgers already have a lot of ties. And then an hour ago, she tweeted, important to note, Jeanie Buss will not only remain the Lakers governor, but will continue to run the team for at least a number of years, according to sources with knowledge of the deal. In other words, it was guaranteed as part of the agreement that Jeanie Buss would remain in charge for the foreseeable future, and Mark Walter fully endorsed this plan according to sources. So there's a lot there. It's saying that Jeanie, will continue to run the team for a number of years. Now, the thing is, she sold the team for $10 billion, which is the largest sale of any team that I've ever heard of. $10 billion. Now, I'm not one of those guys that's going to go back and forth and argue about who the best franchise in NBA history is. I believe the Lakers are the biggest and best franchise in NBA history. If you want to debate, and I'm very respectful of Celtic history, if you want to have a debate on that, maybe that's another video for another day. Maybe I should do a video on that. Who's the better franchise all time, Lakers or Celtics? Coming from a guy who spent time in both regions, and those are the only two regions I've ever lived in, is New England and Southern California. So I guess I would be a good person, especially because I'm not emotional. I mean, I'm a little emotionally invested with the Lakers being my home team, but I'm quick to shit on them, and I'm a Clipper fan, so I think I have a good lens of it. But anyway, $10 billion. That's a lot of money. You think a guy that bought a team for $10 billion is not going to have a final say? A lot of people are pointing to the fact that Mark Cuban was told that he was going to be a governor or whatever. But Ramona says this will be different than Cuban and the Mavericks sale. This is guaranteed and has always been part of the setup since Walter bought the minority stake in 2021 and got first right of refusal. They've built a strong relationship over the last decade. So I guess it's saying that maybe Mark Cuban and Nico Harrison and the new owner of the Mavs, I forget that guy's name, Dumont or whatever, they might not have a strong relationship, whereas Mark Walter and Jeanie Buss do. But Jeanie Buss is probably just a figurehead. They still want around to consult because it's still her family's team, and they don't want to ever feel like she's completely she has no say in what's going on with the Lakers. So I think this is a way of kind of making it a transitional period where, it's, like, it doesn't make her feel like she's just getting kicked out of the door, essentially. But I think that the final decisions will be made by, of course, Mark Walter and whoever he hires. Now, the question is, where does this leave Rob Pelinka? Because that's a Jeanie hire. That was Jeanie's person. Or, yeah, it was. Where does that leave him? Maybe there's more pressure on him now. I think the biggest win for the Lakers here, though, overall is, appreciate this, fellas. The biggest win for the Lakers overall is the money they're going to now have to invest in the other things, maybe the scouting, the training, the, performance staff. I don't know. There's so many cooks in the kitchen nowadays in the NBA, but they now have more money, facilities, all that to invest in these things. So I really appreciate that. Thank you, Denver Nuggets Jeans, for the compliments in the live chat. But yeah, this is a good day for Laker fans and not a great day for other teams around the league. As far as, what's going to happen with Jeanie being involved in some capacity. Again, I think it's a figurehead. It's a transitional thing. I don't think she's going to really have much say in the basketball side of things. Now, 28 minutes ago, Ramona Shelburne tweeted again, Mark Walter had the inside track to buy the Lakers because he had the first right of refusal. Man, how many times has he tweeted that? If the Buss family ever sold as part of his purchase of 26% of the team from Phil Anschultz in 2021. But so far, everyone I talked to thinks the Lakers would go for $10 billion in the open market too, just on pure brand value. Even more impressive considering they don't own their arena. That's coming from Ramona Shelburne. Look, I don't need to sit here and tell people how you know, why the Lakers are valuable. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the top all-time scoring leaders in NBA history, just count how many of them have been Lakers and go from there. You know what I'm saying? I live in the city. I was born and bred in the city, and I am a Clipper fan, and I've had to see firsthand the impact of the Lakers and what they have. And dude, I went to a Celtics versus Toronto Raptors game in Boston, and I saw a guy wearing a Lakers jersey there. So by the way, Clipper fans, it doesn't just happen at our games. So they're just worldwide. And you got to think Magic. You got to think Kobe. You got to think Kareem, Shaq, James Worthy. But for me, it all starts with Pau Gasol. But for me, it all starts with Showtime. I think, when we're talking about Buss, and this is somewhat of a big day for LA sports, this is why I felt like I had to go live to talk about this, even though I've been a bum and haven't done any playoff stuff, which, by the way, let me know. Do you guys want me to do a breakdown by the way, I'm removing the Twitter link. Come to YouTube because I'm tired of that Twitter shit. Come to YouTube. But I'm considering doing a breakdown with some like highlights playing over my narration or breakdown or analysis, I should say, highlights playing over my analysis of every single series this year and still having a breakdown on every game in that series. Probably be like 45 minutes to an hour long videos with basically like 6 game breakdowns in one or however many games were in a particular series with some footage to back me up. Would you guys be interested in that? If not, I'll just make them private videos and just have them for my own receipts. But I didn't do any content in this postseason, which is a disgrace. And I want to still be able to have receipts on every single year since I started this platform on everything. Would you guys watch it? I feel like it would do terrible because it's not current, but technically it's evergreen because it's the playoffs. But they wouldn't be separate videos though, Kyle's takes. They would be all in one video and they would be time-stamped game 1, game 2. But I just feel like every game takes its story and lumping it all in. I mean, it might be better. I don't know. You're probably right that it should be every series. I'll probably go over it with my team. But let me know if you guys want me to release content on this past postseason because I still want to do content on it for my own sake. I just might make the videos private or unlisted, but I don't know. You guys can maybe see them too if you want. Maybe I'll just release them. But that's it. It's a big day though for LA sports because the Buss family, what they did for the Lakers, I still think that the players have done the most. Magic, Kobe, Kareem, Shaq, James Worthy, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, all those guys, they did the most. But when we talk about big influences in the history of the NBA, and of course the Lakers, appreciate you, King Charles. Do it every game. Anyway, you talk about big influences in the Lakers community and just the Laker franchise. Jerry Buss is the Lakers. The Buss family have been the Lakers. And when they bought the team from Jack Kent Cooke in 1979, they were just a good team. They were not a worldwide brand. And that's what they leave with the label of being and selling for $10 billion. I think that's right there what the impact of what the Buss family has done. So salute to the Buss family, especially the late, great Jerry Buss for what he did for the sports landscape in Los Angeles. The Lakers, Showtime, Laker girls, everything. And those stories at the Forum that I've been told for many, many years. And of course, transitioning into the Staples Center and still continuing to produce a product that the Lakers have been. So even though I am a Clipper fan, I'm still a basketball fan and an LA sports guy. And, this is a big day for LA sports. So appreciate you for tuning in. Let me know what you thought of the video. Laker fans, let me know your thoughts. The Buss era is over. Now Mark Walter's era begins. Hopefully it doesn't go as successful as the Dodgers, just as a Clipper fan talking like that. And still don't got as much money as Ballmer, unless you're putting all the Guggenheim billionaires together like Todd Bowley and Joe Lacob. But again, Joe Lacob's a Warriors owner, so I think there's a little conflict of interest there. So all I know is I think Magic will definitely be involved. But here's the thing. Magic's involved even when he's not a title of anything. Magic is Mr. Lakers. He literally has his fingers in and hands in anything that can happen with them. He's on a lifetime contract, 25 years, 25 mil. Anyway, still getting paid from that. All right. Peace out, everybody. Let me know what you thought of the video, and I'm going to be releasing some content very soon on some series, breaking them down. Peace.